Not all runways are built for comfort. Some are built for survival. Perched on cliffs, surrounded by towering mountains, and notoriously short, these runways put the skills of the most experienced of pilots to the test. One wrong move, and there's no second shot at redemption. These are the deadliest runways on planet Earth. Our journey into the depths of aviation dangers starts on a high in the Himalayas, where the Tenzing Hillary Airport is located. For climbers looking to embark on a Mount Everest adventure, this runway serves as a gateway, perched at a mind-boggling 9,330 feet off the ground. For pilots, the challenge is formidable. The runway tied to this airport stretches just 1,729 feet. To put things into perspective, this is shorter than what you'd find on aircraft carrier decks. That's not all, though. Tenzing Hillary Airport has an upward slope of 11.7%. Although this incline helps planes to decelerate when landing, it makes canceled takeoffs a terrifying prospect. What makes Tenzing Hillary terrifying besides its runway are the surroundings. One end has a solid rock wall, and the other end is a drop that falls hundreds of feet to the valley below. This structure leaves no room for error and no chance of a go-around. Once a pilot is committed to landing or taking off, they've got to maintain their course or suffer damning consequences. The mountain weather at Tenzing Hillary further complicates things. The thin air can affect an aircraft's performance, making precision non-negotiable. Due to this airport's overall structure, only experienced pilots with hundreds of hours of mountain flying training are allowed to go close. From the calm but treacherous Himalayas, we head down to the chaotic urban ambience surrounding the Toncontin International Airport, located in Tegucigalpa, Honduras. The runway's length is relatively decent at 7,096 feet, so it isn't the major danger. However, the real challenge lies in how planes approach the runway. It's surrounded by towering mountains. Therefore, pilots are charged with the task of making dramatic last-minute turns, typically at a steep angle, to line up perfectly with the runway for landing. Just think about it for a moment. You're in charge of a multi-ton aircraft and making a rapid descent. But as you do so, you encounter the unforgiving towering mountains bordering the runway. The margin for error is practically non-existent. And when you factor in unpredictable weather, including gusty winds and minimal visibility, it gets even more difficult. In recent years, Toncontin has earned a reputation for being one of the most hazardous airports in the world. Even seasoned pilots admit to feeling a rush of adrenaline as they approach the runway. Due to the risks posed by this airport's surroundings, aircraft flight crews must be at their best to execute perfect landings. Now let's journey to a place where beauty and peril meet: Madeira International Airport. Also known as the Cristiano Ronaldo International Airport. This airport is situated on the beautiful island of Madeira. It has a runway extension that screams engineering perfection. For context, this extension fields multiple concrete pillars that stretch out over the Atlantic Ocean. Although the extension gives planes more room to take off and land, there's a significant problem tied to the airport's runway: heavy crosswinds. The airport's location is exposed to the Atlantic's full force. This means that relentless and unpredictable winds can arise at any time, disrupting the motion of departing and arriving planes. To counter these natural scenarios, pilots must possess the exceptional skills required to put the plane in the position required for successful landings and takeoffs. During landings, for instance, pilots tend to crab the plane. This involves flying the plane sideways into the wind. And after crabbing the plane for some moments, they'll correct its banking angle at the last possible moment to fit the runway's position. Although the Madeira International Airport is now home to advanced weather monitoring systems and professional air traffic controllers, taking off and landing remains uphill tasks, with pilots constantly battling with the raw forces of nature. Let's shift gears a little bit and head to the Princess Juliana International Airport, located on the small island of St. Martin. This airport's runway is relatively fair with a length of over 7,100 feet. However, its deadly reputation stems from the fact that it ends just a few feet away from the Maho Beach, which is regarded as one of the most popular tourist hotspots on the island. Picture yourself having a nice sun bath at Maho Beach when a Boeing 747 roars by. That's the reality for visitors every day. Albeit a thrilling spectacle, it's almost impossible to ignore the risks associated with this area. For example, jet blast from planes landing or taking off can be powerful enough to knock spectators over and cause injuries. Additionally, debris from the beach could be sucked into the plane's engines, causing stalls or failures. At the end of the runway is a fence, and due to its proximity to the Maho Beach, pilots must be able to soar ahead of this fence safely. The Princess Juliana International Airport, albeit having a questionable location, is a prime reminder of the delicate balance between the sheer power of aviation and jolly human activities. Have you ever pictured a deadly runway holding a Guinness World Record? While this might seem like something straight out of the movies, it's the reality of Hwangcho-i-Arausquin Airport. For context, this airport holds the record for the shortest commercially serviceable runway in the world, with a length of 1,300 feet. These are rookie numbers when placed alongside major airports with runway lengths reaching 10,000 feet. This runway has steep cliffs that lead directly to the seas by its flanks. As such, landing and taking off from the Hwangcho-i-Arausquin Airport is an activity reserved for pilots with experience in short takeoff and landing aircraft. There's no room for mistakes here. If you overshoot your landing, you're headed for the blue ocean. On the other hand, if you don't get enough speed during takeoff, you could hit a cliff at the other end. Summarily, Hwangcho-i-Arausquin Airport doesn't just have one of the deadliest runways. This location represents the limits of aviation, a spot where landing and taking off are feats deserving of praise. An airport that resembles a ski jump? This isn't a scene out of Grand Theft Auto 6. It's the reality at Courchevel Altiport in France. Located in the French Alps, this airport is the haven for pilots and skiers living on the edge. The runway linked to it is best described as the combination of short, high altitude, and steep. Following in the footsteps of Hwangcho-i-Arausquin, Courchevel Altiport has a slightly longer runway length of 1,762 feet. This runway doesn't feature light or instrument landing systems, as is the case at modern airports across the world. Since these life-saving add-ons are absent, flights in and out of Courchevel Altiport are only allowed during the day and in clear weather conditions. Landing at this runway is an adrenaline-driven activity. It requires the pilot to approach the runway with speed to maintain stability. But there's a catch. You must decelerate quickly to avoid going past the end of the runway and into the unknown. Taking off doesn't get any easier. Planes must go downhill fast to get the lift needed to leave the ground. And once the pilot commits to this, there's no turning back. We've just given context on the top 6 deadliest runways across the world. While they capture the most attention, the globe is peppered with airstrips that present unique challenges. Let's run through them quickly. The Gibraltar International Airport has a runway that's linked to a busy public road. Whenever a plane needs to take off or land, traffic is halted. That said, at Scotland's Barra Airport, planes land on a beach and flight schedules are determined by sea tides. Moving on, Narsarsuaq Airport in Greenland is surrounded by fjords and is infamous for poor visibility and unpredictable weather. The world's deadliest runways aren't mere oddities in the aviation world. Rather, they're a powerful reminder of the risks inherent in flights and the courage of those that take to the skies despite all these reports. It also showcases the expertise of pilots who, day after day, defy the relentless forces of nature and uneven geography to get passengers to their respective destinations without incident. So, the next time you're on a flight, take a moment to appreciate the precision required during landings and takeoffs. While you're at it, spare some thoughts for the brave pilots who take on regular and treacherous runways, irrespective of the looming risks they present. Would you dare land at or take off from any of the deadliest runways in aviation? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this journey into the extreme ends of aviation, like this video and subscribe to enjoy more fascinating aviation-themed stories and reports.